Senior ministers are downplaying reports of infighting at Downing Street after the resignation of one of Boris Johnson's key aides. The upheaval at the heart of government comes as ministers grapple with the pandemic and concerns over a post-Brexit trade deal. And with 50 days to go until the end of the transition period, there's a warning from the Irish Taoiseach that the UK must knuckle down to agree a deal with the European Union, as our political editor Laura Kuenssberg reports.
Boris Johnson's in charge because of Brexit. He wants to change how we deal with the rest of the world. But there's been meltdown among his band of Brexiteers. And if there is no trade deal, there could be economic turmoil too. So Michael Gove's warning business to be prepared, agreement or not.
By choosing to leave the European Union, we became a sovereign equal. And it's absolutely important that the EU recognise that. I think the penny is dropping.
And it is it not rather extraordinary that with only a matter of a few weeks to go, you cannot tell businesses, particularly in Northern Ireland, how they're going to have to trade?
There are still things which do need to be resolved. This deal will set the terms of our relationship with the EU for years to come. That's why it's so important we get it right.
You've got people in government fighting like rats in a sack. Now, what kind of impression does that give to people desperately worried about there maybe not being a trade deal?
There's a complete focus in government on making sure that we can work with business and work with citizens in order to deliver on the promise of Brexit and to take advantage of the opportunities of being outside the European Union.
Can you say that with a straight face when the Prime Minister can't even choose a Chief of Staff?
Well, what I do every day and what the Prime Minister does every day is ensure that we're delivering on the manifesto pledges that we were elected on last year.
But there's a shakiness to everything because there have been tremors and big moves in there. Watch this. The Prime Minister's longest-serving Brexiteer aide, Lee Kane, walking out of his job. In part because of the new Press Secretary, Allegra Stratton, enjoying arriving at the front. The position of the most controversial advisor, Dominic Cummings, is now perhaps in question.
Is it bad for the country to have tension in Downing Street, Mr Cummings?
Just as one of the most important moments for their Brexit project arrives. 10 days or so left to do a trade deal with the EU.
Patience.
Brussels' chief negotiator in London talks in stalemate with hardly any time to go. Other leaders in the EU are urging Boris Johnson to budge to get a deal done, especially from Dublin, where the effect of a bust-up would be so acute.
We've all had a very significant shock to our economic system because of COVID-19. The last thing we need now, across all of our respective economies, is a second major shock that a no deal would cause.
Many people in the UK government just don't believe that the EU is ready to compromise enough.
You know, in all negotiations, both sides take positions. Both sides have to move in all negotiations. If I could respectfully say it, that's where the British government should head in that direction, in my view. It should knuckle down and get a deal with the European Union.
On the 1st of January, whatever happens, the way we trade with and interact with our neighbours and the whole EU will change in some very big ways. If politicians can put aside their differences and do a deal, that transition will be significant but smooth. But if the politics fail and an agreement just can't be reached, there could be big disruption. An outline of the trade deal can be seen on both sides, but the final act of the Brexit project isn't over. Laura Kuenssberg, BBC News.